Hey, what's up everybody? My name is Coach Anderson and today we're going to talk about acids, bases, and the pH scale. Now the first thing I want you to know is that compounds can be classified as acids and bases. Now, acids are typically sour in taste and they can dissolve some metals. They are corrosive. On the other hand, we have bases. These are slippery and bitter in taste. Now we use something called the pH scale to measure acids and bases. Substances with a pH of less than 7 are acidic, while substances with a pH of greater than 7 are basic. A substance that has a pH of 7 is called neutral. Let's go ahead and take a look at some properties of acids and bases. So acids and bases have different properties, and the easiest way to tell them apart is by measuring the pH. Now, like I said, we use the pH scale to tell if something's an acid or base. A pH of less than 7 tells us that it's an acid, while a pH of more than 7 tells us that it's a base. Now we use something called litmus paper, which changes color to identify whether something is an acid or a base. So what are the properties of acids and bases? Well, if you look at the table over here, you can see the difference between the two of them. Now, firstly, we have acids, which have a pH of less than 7. They have a sour and sharp taste. You can think of something like lemons, and they can burn you if you touch them. Acids also turn litmus paper red, and they're corrosive to metal and stone. On the other hand, we have bases, which have a pH of more than 7. They have a bitter taste, like cocoa beans, and they're slippery to touch when you feel it. Bases turn litmus paper blue, and they corrode organic material. Some substances are neither acids nor bases. They're actually neutral. Now, a neutral substance has a pH of 7. A good example is typically something like water. The pH of water is close to 7. Now, if we mix acids and bases together, we can actually make a neutral substance when they react. Sometimes we do this to make it safer to handle and use certain acids and bases. Let's take a quick second to look at some examples of acids and bases in the world around you. Now, in nature, there are tons of acids and bases. For instance, a blueberry that you might eat is acidic, has a pH of around 4 to 5. Something like jellyfish venom has a pH of 6, so it's also acidic because it's less than 7. On the other hand, we have the ocean or salt water, which has a pH of around 8, so it's basic. In the human body, we also have examples of acids and bases. The water inside of our cells is pretty close to a pH of 7, which makes it neutral. You also have stomach acid, which has a pH of around 1 to 2, so it's acidic. Another good example of acids and bases in the world around you is supplies that you use for cleaning. For example, dish soap and laundry detergent are basic because they have a pH greater than 7. On the other hand, something like a lemon or vinegar is acidic because it has a pH of less than 7. So those are a few good examples of acids and bases in the world around you. What else can you think of? All right, that's a lot of new information. Let's go ahead and look at this table that has the properties of both acids and bases. Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to say an example of some sort of substance, and I'm going to give you the pH. And then I want you to think to yourself, is it an acid or a base? Okay. Our first substance is hand soap. Hand soap has a pH of 9. Does that make it an acid or a base? Go ahead and think. Right, it's a base because hand soap has a pH of 9, which is greater than 7, and it has a slippery feel. It's a base. Okay. What about pure water? Pure water has a pH of 7. Is it an acid or a base? Okay, hopefully you're like, dude, what's going on? It's not an acid or a base. You're right, it's not an acid or a base. It is neutral because it has a pH of 7. Pure water is neutral because it has a pH of 7. One more example. What about a tomato? A tomato has a pH of 4. Is it an acid or a base? Right. A tomato is an example of an acid because it has a pH of 4, which is less than 7, and it also might have a sour or acidic taste. Good job. Thanks for playing along. All right, thank you guys so much for watching today. I hope you learned something new about acids, bases, and the pH scale. Remember to be kind to one another, make good choices, and I look forward to seeing you back here in class.